Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol. जय विष्णुपाद प्रभुपादाचार्य श्रोता श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरदास ठाकुर जय। प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्ति की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपनाथ श्याम कुंड राधिका गिरिवर गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। मथुरापुरी धाम की जय। रत्नीप मायापुर धाम की जय। विंध्य देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। सामवेद भक्त की जय। श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन जी की जय। श्री नरसिंह भगवान की जय। श्री गौनिताय की जय। कृष्ण बलराम की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembly devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembly devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembly devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembly devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you for this Bhagavatam class.
Hare Krishna. So we welcome all the devotees in today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. And today we have with us His Grace Rasala Prabhu. Prabhuji has come here for GBC leadership course. Prabhuji joined Iskcon in 2006. It's like 18 years back at Punjabi Bagh Temple, Delhi. After serving there for a few years, Prabhuji moved to Iskcon Rohini Temple and he is serving there in various capacities, especially as a youth preaching. He is leading youth preaching there. Also, he is a board member of Temple Council at Iskcon Rohini, and also he is serving in Iskcon Board of Examination as a nodal officer. Someone told me that Prabhuji knows many languages: German, French, Hindi, English, Bengali, Sanskrit, and many more. So, and also he has a special love for the deities. So we are very grateful to him, and we welcome His Grace Rasala Prabhu by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. His Grace Rasala Prabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna. So thank you for all of you to come to this Bhagavatam class. And today we'll be taking a verse from the 9th canto, 15th chapter, and 40th verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shamaya rochate Lakshmi Rami Sori Yatha Prabha Shaminamashu Bhagwan Sha Tushate Haririshvara Shamaya rochate Lakshmi Rami Sori Yatha Prabha Shaminam Ashu Bhagwan Sa Tushate Haririshvara Shamaya rochate Lakshmi Rami Sori Yatha Prabha Shaminam Ashu Bhagwan Sa Tushate Haririshvara Mataji's. Shamaya rochate Lakshmi What meaning? Shamaya, simply by forgiving. Rochate, becomes pleasing. Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Brahmi, in connection with Brahminical qualifications. Sorry, the sun god. Yatha, as. Prabha, the sunshine. Shaminam, unto the Brahmanas who are so forgiving. Ashu, very soon. Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tushate, becomes pleased. Hari, the Lord. Ishvara, the Supreme Controller. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The duty of a Brahmana is to culture the quality of forgiveness, which is illuminating like the sun. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari is pleased with those who are forgiving. Purport. Different personalities become beautiful by possessing different qualities. Chanakya Pandit says that the cuckoo bird, although very black, is beautiful because of its sweet voice. Similarly, a woman becomes beautiful by her chastity and faithfulness to her husband. And an ugly person becomes beautiful when he becomes a learned scholar. In the same way, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras become beautiful by their qualities. Brahmanas are beautiful when they are forgiving, Kshatriyas when they are heroic and never retreat from fighting, Vaishyas when they enrich cultural activities and protect cows, and Shudras when they are faithful in the discharge of duties pleasing to their masters. Thus, everyone becomes beautiful by his special qualities, and the special quality of the Brahmana, as described here, is forgiveness. Om Ajnanatamidandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurum Yamilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakam Lam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahegan Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopeshva Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapt Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishbhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhesha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you again for this Bhagavatam class, and today we'll be speaking on this verse, 9th canto, 15th chapter and 40th verse, and we just read the purport and translation. So this verse speaks about forgiveness, and perennially it's an important topic of discussion amongst devotees. If we are a little bit honest, we can recognize this fact that we, on regular basis, we commit mistakes towards other, and also the others are also making mistake towards us. So just like in GBC college we learned, I think Raghunath mentioned, this forgiveness is an undiscovered country. So much has to be said. So much in the secular world we find so many self-help books, narrative stories, but in today's class the perspective is from the Bhagavatam. So what does the Bhagavatam speaks about the forgiveness? Krishna Sadham Upagate Dharma Jnana Bisaha Kalu Nashdisha Mesha Purananko Dhanodita. So Srimad Bhagavatam has just arisen after the departure of Krishna, and people in the light of in the Kal Yuga they will get the light from this Bhagavad Puran. So what Bhagavatam is trying to impress upon us is worth looking closer at the forgiveness quality. And mainly today I'll be speaking on how does Krishna exemplify this quality of forgiveness. So supreme leader of all the leader, how does he exemplify this quality? And because he exemplifies this quality, he demands the same from his followers as well. In today's class, I'll be presenting a few PPT slides just to give you an impact of what we discuss here. And I'll be requesting you, we'll be calling out for some responses from you. So we would like to have your participation, and I would surely guarantee you this will be a good meditation on Krishna. So before we start, can we call out from responses from you? Just a minute. In the course of reading the Bhagavatam so many times, from Canto 1 to 12, the one common theme which I've come across all the time is that Bhagavatam is the stories of failures, not just failures, but the recovery later on. If it had been just the stories of failures, would have been very depressing for us to read the Bhagavatam. So failures, rather we call it stumble, and the later recovery of a devotee. So just to give an example of it, could you call up responses from the Bhagavatam where devotee do stumble? Sorry? Full screen, okay. Devotee stumbling in the Bhagavatam. So this would give you an idea about what the Bhagavatam is trying to impress upon us, which is non-different from Krishna. So, could you say louder? Prithu Maharaj, he stumbled. He was trying to kill Indra. Yeah. And who else? Who stumbled in the Bhagavatam? Ajamil, yeah. Who else? There are many. Parikshit Maharaj, the origin of the story, and Bharat Maharaj, Indra more than once, many times in fact in the Bhagavatam. It's just not stumble, and later we find the response of the devotee, and finally the recovery. That's how we find in the Bhagavatam so many prayers, because devotee do stumble at one point of time and they recover. It's ever more glorious recovery of the devotee. So we have Ajamil, we have Chitraketu, Bharat Maharaj. So many examples we find in the Bhagavatam, devotees stumbling at certain point of time. And the Bhagavatam is giving all sort of psychological condition, just like men stumble differently than women do, and kings stumble differently than Brahmanas do. Somebody stumbling in the young life like Ajamila, somebody stumbling in the later life, Yayati. So we have this example: Daksha, Indra, Nalkuber, Manigriv, Brahma, Durvasa, Vyasadeva also. He had stumbled at when he was not satisfied within his heart when he was before writing Bhagavatam. And one of the consequences we find in the Bhagavatam is there are many curses. I will not go into details on the curses, but so yeah, different personalities stumble differently. So this is what the Bhagavatam is trying to impress upon us, is worth looking closer at. Every possible psychological condition. And it mentions the method of recovery, the broad patterns, the process devotee go through to come out of the stumble. And it shows us, not more than method, the quality of devotees, the response of devotees, and ever more glorious recovery of the devotees. And that's how we find so many prayers in the Bhagavatam, glorifying Krishna. So, how does Krishna exemplify this quality of forgiveness? Now, if you talk about Bhagavad Gita, which verse can you call out is speaking on the quality of this forgiveness from Krishna's perspective? Api che suduracharo bhajate mam ananyabhas sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi sa. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, yeah, we know Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur reveals Krishna's and Arjuna internal dialogues in a way understandable for us. So at some point of time, Arjuna asks this question: however, if a devotee is sinful right up to his death, what is his position? Krishna then encourages the worried, lamenting Arjuna: O Kaunteya, going to the scrabbling assembly with a tumultuous sound of drums, throwing your hands in the air, you should fearlessly declare this. This verse. Na me bhakta pranashyati. So in Bhagavatam, third canto, Prabhupada writes a very beautiful purport. The same verse, Aho Bakiyam Stanakalakutam. The Lord accepts the least qualification of the living entity and awards him the highest reward. That is the standard of his character. Now, if we analyze his word from the perspective of Krishna, Apiche Sudracharo, in this verse, Krishna is accepting the intention of the living entity and rejecting his abominable act, the outward action. So he's accepting the intention and rejecting the action. So now, can you find any cases in the Bhagavatam, stories in the Bhagavatam where Krishna is accepting the intention and rejecting the bad action? Vidura's wife, not from the Bhagavatam exactly, but yeah, Vidurani basically. Vidurani, she's feeding Krishna's banana peel. So intention is good, but the action is bad because actually you're feeding Krishna peel. So Bhishma Dev again, yeah, he's shooting arrows. Intention is to please Krishna, but the action is bad. What else? Putna is vice versa. It's vice versa. The next. So we'll be taking 4 case studies. How does Krishna behave or deal with this devotee when intention is bad and action is good? Vice versa. Action is good, intention is bad, and when both are bad, and there's one condition where Krishna does not forgive himself. So, yeah, Bhishma Dev, Vidurani. And what else? Just to give you a meditation on Krishna. So, Indra, intention is not good. That's a different. So, intention is right, action is bad. So, just to give you, yeah, somebody mentioned Bhishma Dev, Vidurani. Not from the Bhagavatam, but one example we find in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Govinda is stepping over Lord Chaitanya to serve, to give him massage. So the intention is to serve Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, but the action is stepping over the Lord is not good. We find Jai Vijay, intention is good, but action is bad, they are stopping them. Sudama, he is keeping the rice under his armpit. Intention is good, but the action is bad. So in that case, Krishna accepts the intention and reject the action. Now let us take the vice versa. When intention is bad, but the action is good. The Putna. And what is the famous example? Intention is bad, but the action is good. Very classic example in the Bhagavatam. Just somebody mentioned Ajamila. He's not calling Krishna, he's calling his son. Intention is not Krishna, but the action is good because he's calling the name of Krishna. So, and this is good for us because sometimes we are chanting, intention is not there, but the action is there. We are chanting. The mind is somewhere else. Maybe we are hearing, the mind is somewhere else. Or maybe we are performing any spiritual activity where the mind is not there. Intention is not there, but the action is good. Sometimes people ask, we are engaged in service, so heart is not there. So at least if the body is engaged, Krishna accepts that action of our being engaged in devotional service to Krishna. And let us take the third example. When both are bad, you find an example, intention is bad and action is also bad. And if a devotee comes and approaches Krishna for forgiveness, Indra, many times in the Bhagavatam, he's trying to kill Brajavasis, intention is bad, even the action is bad, pouring rains. What else? Brahma. Sorry. But if devotee approaches Krishna, and one more example we find in the 10th canto. Kansa, he doesn't approach Krishna. Intention is bad towards Amrish, action is also bad, yeah? But I will take the Dwasa case, it is beyond that, this example. So the next one. Kaliya, intention is bad, action is also bad. So in that case, if a devotee approaches Krishna, Krishna will still forgive you. Will forgive you. But in one case, we find the Bhagavatam where Krishna does not forgive himself. What else? Where Krishna does not forgive himself. You find any example in the Bhagavatam? Durvasa. But in that case, also, if you see closely, if you have offended a devotee, but still, if you approach Krishna, Krishna will direct you in such a way that your offense is nullified, is eradicated. So this is how we, oh Brahmana, go to Amrish immediately. If you are an offender, still if you approach Krishna, Krishna will guide you in such a way that your offense is eradicated. One thing I just forgot to mention, in the case of Ajamila, when the Yamdutas, they were defeated and they approached Yamraj, that we have heard in this Vedic scripture that Vedo Pranito Dharma, Prabhupada quotes this verse in the purport also, to this verse of Dharman tu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam, that for a quality of action, both intention and action has to be right. This is what we, if you're performing any rituals, both intention and action has to be right. But in response to this verse, Yamaraj says, Dharman tu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. The dharma is what Krishna does. It's up to Krishna whether he accepts the intention or reject the action. So now, when Uddhava was approached by Vidura and he wanted to ask, basically he was inquiring about the pastimes of Krishna. So the first thing that he remembered about Krishna, amongst all the qualities that he knew, among all the pastime that he had been with Krishna, so he remembered this verse from his memory. I mean, from his reciprocation from Krishna. And he was not in this present pastime. Aho bakiyam stanakal kutam jigamsya papyat api sadhavi lebe gatim datu chitam tato anyam kim vadyalu sharnam vijayma. And Uddhava was not in this pastime, but amongst all the qualities of Krishna, he immediately recalled this particular quality of Krishna, forgiveness. And if you look closer, suppose God lacks this quality of forgiveness. He has all opulence, he's powerful, he's knowledgeable, but if he lacks this quality of forgiveness, in fact, we won't be able to approach Krishna. We may be still attracted to Krishna, but not able to follow him. Because a moment of mistake, somebody is very powerful, you're gone. So a beauty could be a trap to be attracted to Krishna, but a moment of mistake again, it will be scary for us to approach Krishna. In fact, this quality of Krishna, forgiveness, shines all other qualities of Krishna. And that's how we are able to approach Krishna and have that hope for protection from Krishna. Now, this quality of forgiveness of Krishna's quality can be taken to one of the extreme, and many religions tend to do that. Either God is unconditionally merciful or God is very strict. So, but what we see in the Bhagavatam, Krishna doesn't operate on this extreme. Whenever he forgives someone, he has a reason for it. He always considers the response of the devotee. And because Krishna has two important roles for all of us. First, this is what Prabhupada mentions in the Bhagavatam, first canto, many times. Krishna is more anxious than us to take us back to Godhead. Krishna wants us to improve. Second, Krishna wants with us to establish his eternal loving relationship. So in order to do that, Krishna sometimes punishes, sometimes forgives. His punishment is also part of his mercy. And Krishna, we see in the Bhagavatam, does not operate on extremes. Some religions say, no matter what you do, God will forgive you. And the other way around is, nobody's karma free. You have to pay a price for every karma, and you're going to burn in hell forever. So Krishna doesn't operate on the extreme. He considers the response of the living entity, and yeah. This is my personal observation, realization about what I've understood in my experience. Sometimes Krishna is intentionally reticent. He hides his intention. Sometimes devotee is wondering why this problem happening to me, and at what point of time this will end, and what is the purpose. And Krishna sometimes intentionally is reticent about it, doesn't reveal. We heard about growth mindset because I was connecting to this growth mindset in GBC college and fixed mindset. So if we were to know that this is problem given by Krishna and this will end by this time and this is the purpose, and every devotee joyfully can go through any problem, but still Krishna doesn't do that always, because Krishna wants us to strengthen our faith. He wants us to grow in spiritual life, and there's a struggle, there's a journey to when when we are struggling with a problem. It's a struggle. When we go through that, and Krishna wants us to go through that, so that we find our shelter in Krishna, and that's a journey. So we don't know. This problem is given by Maya and Krishna, and when we are struggling with the problem, it feels like it will stay forever, and we don't find the purpose why we are given this problem. But Krishna has a purpose to do it. And that is how we find three categories of devotees in their consciousness. If something bad happens to them, immediate response is they blame other people, situation, circumstances. That's the first category. The second, the higher consciousness devotee will see, I'm responsible for my karmas, so I have to pay the price for it, I have to bear it. A little higher than the person who's blaming other devotees, or devotees who's blaming other devotees, people, circumstances. But the highest consciousness of a devotee is everything in the life which is happening to me, Prabhupada writes in the first canto, is God sent. In the first canto, 7th chapter, I think, verse number somewhere 30. The devotee's conclusion is that everything happens in my life is sent by Krishna. It's not blaming Krishna. If they blame Krishna, then they fall into first category, the last one. But Krishna is arranging for me to strengthen my faith in Him, and trying to make me grow in my spiritual life, my relationship with Krishna. Okay, that's how the verse we read. Shamaya rochate Lakshmi, Bhamiswar yatha prabha, Shamina mashu bhagvansha, tushate hari ishvara. The Lord is very pleased. I was just wondering when I was just preparing for this verse, why the Lord is very pleased for those who are forgiving. Because Krishna Himself exemplifies this quality, and He demands from the follower. Maybe I can take question, or I can take a few just overview. This is the first part, how does Krishna exemplify? The second is when we are in the position of seeking forgiveness, when we have done the wrong thing and we are feeling that burn inside. So it's before we say sorry to someone, which is very easy, I'm sorry, the person whom we are approaching for forgiveness, he's more concerned that do you understand or do you feel what you're sorry about? So before one begs an apology, so the Bhagavatam, we find the broad patterns, method and processes. Devotees generally, this is boiled into this 4 or 5 steps which I've made here. Generally, devotee go through these steps, and one of them is first is developing genuine appreciation for the person. So humility is very challenging. The first step is manadina is easier. Amanina, manadina. Becoming amanina is very difficult, free from all designation, all prestige. Amanina. But at least what we can do is manadina, which is easier and lead to amanina. So devotee should be appreciative for a person whom he is approaching for apology. And when once somebody approaches, be specific in your appreciation. exact quality and not just a flattery. And every stumble requires a genuine appreciation to come out of it. So this is what we see in the Bhagavatam. Devotees are glorifying Krishna, the other personalities. Generally, it is between two personalities. So, so make a specific statement and to feel that what you're sorry about. The example is Krishna Indra. He makes a specific statement of his apology. This is the wrong which I've done. Daksha also. He makes a specific statement what wrong he has done, recognizing your mistake. And then express apology. Usually the tendency is to have a hard-headed apology. I'm very sorry you felt bad. We're putting the blame on other person. So the apology has to be unconditional. No if, no but. And one thing that we can do is, only the thing that we can do is to clarify our intentions. Especially if we find the case of Diti and Indra, both clarified their intentions. And when they clarified the intentions, um, the heart burning was removed. And suggest a remedy because someone has gone through a lot of trials because of us. So generally it is suggested by the other party, or one way to assist is the person to assist a person in their service. And we may recognize our mistake, but genuine remorse is required so that we don't repeat the same mistake again. And so yeah, and yeah, it is difficult. It is difficult to someone of even a senior stature to approach a person and beg forgiveness sometime. So in those cases, especially a mediator is required. Just like we find in the Bhagavatam, Brahma is mediating between Daksha and Lord Shiva. The mediator has to have two qualities. He should be impartial and he should be trusted by both the parties. That's how the mediation would work. This is just to give an overview. And when we are in a position when we have to forgive someone and we have gone through so much suffering, it is very difficult to forgive someone. So yeah, we see in the Bhagavatam one person is making mistake, other person is begging apology, but we live in a world where it's not just a one person's mistake. It is usually, generally, both the parties are involved. So one consideration is, yes, even I have a role to play. And other ways, people in the modes of material nature, they act because of the conditioning. And someone in anxiety sometimes behaves in a way which is not conducive. The internal introspection is Krishna is relieving me of pride, just like Brahma, and Krishna is giving me opportunity. In the case of we find the Parikshit Maharaj to hear Bhagavatam from the exalted soul. And one beauty of the giving forgiveness is we can give it even without asking it. So we find in the case of Lord Ramchandra forgiving. And this is the last slide. Then I'll ask for the 4 questions and your comment. Generally, the apology that we get will not be, will be, or rather you can say, half-hearted, indirect, partial, insincere. So we accept this fact. It takes a courage to approach someone. So whatever the apology comes, accept it. And the real test of giving or offering or seeking forgiveness is to normalize the relationship amongst all the devotees. And if one comes and asks for forgiveness, let us not crush them and take away the dignity, because in many ways they come. So this is what I have to say. Tatyanukampa susamikshmano bhunjane vatmakitam vipakam. So if you have any comment, I've tried to give an overview of giving and offering. This could be detailed discussion, but for the interest of time, we'll wind up here. Any question, any suggestion, any comment? Yes, Pratik.
Hare Krishna, bro. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. Bro, I have a question that when someone commits mistake, someone commit mistake, it's very easy to forgive him once. But same mistake when it's again and again it's committed, it's very difficult to forgive. So what should be our thought process while forgiving? And second question I have that sometimes if mistake is small, then it's very easy to forgive. But mistake is very big, like Duryodhan, he did so big mistake. So it's very difficult to forgive. So this.
This is good, important, which I just forgot to mention. Um, Sometimes when a mistake is happening, and sometimes why we're not able to forgive someone, generally also many times happens. I'll teach him a lesson. Hmm? I'll teach him a lesson. Teaching someone a lesson is usually whose job? Guru and Krishna. So usually teaching someone a lesson, unless in the position of authority, like a parents, like guru, like a teacher, mentor. So teaching someone a lesson could be dangerous. So we will be implicating ourselves in the karmic reactions. So yeah. One time, his name is Gopal Krish Maharaj, my special master. He mentioned one story, was one pastime which we had with Prabhupada, and this is Montreal. One Mr. Banerjee, a Bengali gentleman, was there in the class. Prabhupada gave a lecture. Somehow he didn't like the lecture, so he started challenging Prabhupada, what Prabhupada had mentioned in the class. So disciple felt very bad, but after a while, Prabhupada approached Gopal Krishna Prabhu that time that please call this gentleman to me, and tomorrow we'll have a lunch with him. And Maharaj was wondering, I mean, he criticized you so much in the class, and you're inviting him for lunch. And then Prabhupada replied, I must have done some wrong to him in the past life. So just carrying some vehicle as a vehicle for reaction. So if we are in the position of authority, certainly we can teach somebody a lesson, but it is again a sharp razor edge. We have to do it very carefully because otherwise we might be implicating ourselves in the karmas. So there are ways and means. Sometimes you have to be strict, where Krishna is strict. Sometimes you have to forgive. So, yeah, thank you. Any other? Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your class. I had one question regarding the steps for for asking for forgiveness. You should be remorseful. So if that remorse is there, then you won't commit the same mistake. My question is that when we commit the mistake and the remorse is very sincerely remorsing, but we still commit the same mistake, then what is the
It's a process, yeah, it's a process. It means it is not complete. And yeah, one has to be, a perfection has no limit. Keep trying for it. And that's how Krishna gives us mercy. Yes, Mataji.
So, while reflecting, I was thinking that forgiveness has two main aspects. One is seeking forgiveness, and one is actually, let me simplify this. It is forgiving and correct. Like you are on the giving end. You're forgiving and being forgiven. So when you talk about being forgiven, you don't really have much control over that. But forgiving, you have a lot of control over that. So if a devotee in his own life practices forgiving in itself without even expecting to be forgiven, then Krishna simply by that endeavor to continue to just overlook amanina amanadena kirtane sadhari. That really strengthens one's spiritual sense. On a practical note, I wanted to share something. My husband, he used to, in the early days in Radha Gopinath temple, one of his services was that he would, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj would dictate letters, and my husband would type them. In those days, there was no laptop, so there was no email kind of communication. So he would type them, and the letters would be sent out. So my husband had a habit. While Maharaj was dictating, Maharaj would say, "Please accept my humble obeisances," to begin the letter with, and my husband would just write "Pam Ho." And when Maharaj looked at the notes before he went to type them out, he says, "What is this PAMHO?" So he said, "Maharaj, this is please accept." He says, "No, you're not supposed to write that. When I'm saying, please accept my humble obeisances, I actually offer my obeisances to these devotees in my mind, and you should do the same." So when I heard my husband sharing this, I started to make a conscious effort. Whenever I'm writing an email, I started to write, "Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada," and actually meditate on offering my obeisances to the devotee I'm writing to. Sometimes in management, you want to write a very, very nasty email. You're communicating, you're correcting, you're doing things. But when I start the email with "Dear so and so, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada," the entire tone of that email changes, because you actually offer your obeisances, and then you understand that you are the servant. So just that simple meditation has actually protected me from committing so many offenses. So just a simple tip of not being in a place of always having to seek forgiveness. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for the wonderful class.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Amrit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your class, Prabhuji. So I was thinking about this pastime of Putana. So Krishna, in this case, we know Krishna is Krishna. So he has a wonderful and very big heart, and he can see the intention, he can see the action, he can judge. But it's very difficult for us. So we judge by actions, and when the person is not asking for forgiveness, still forgiving, it's very difficult. So how we can try to come to that stage?
Certainly, it's a regular practice for all the devotees. And this we discussed in the GBC college also. Raghunath Prabhu mentioned. People see our external actions, and person sees his consciousness, his intent. I hope if you have heard that. People see their intent when they are performing some action, but person himself sees his intention, but the people see their action. So yeah, this was just to bring it out, this entire presentation. How does Krishna see, so that we can emulate the same in our behavior? Obviously, it's a regular practice. Regularly, we are sharpening our Krishna consciousness by connection with Krishna, and by mercy of Krishna, we pray that we can imbibe the same. And Krishna wants us to do it, and that's how he's saying he's so much pleased with those who are forgiving. So certainly, we are only left with the mercy of Krishna and Guru. So regular practice, prayers to Krishna will certainly strengthen and help us. Hare Krishna. Jai Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
ऊपर के